went on to being in music videos and going around the world. It's just been a crazy cycle for myself. But it all started from just wanting to write lyrics and perform and be on the stage and be in the studio recording. And here I am now, roughly, from 1999 till now, I could say. Still going crazy. I've done a lot. It's been a crazy career.
I mean, in terms of, because I always try to get ways, get in between. I mean, people would say, and I mention this to people all the time, because interesting uphill battles. What uphill battles to get where you are? Because a lot of people are under the illusion. I've got to say good afternoon to Dr. Yogi Fish, who's just joined us in the chat room. What struggles you get? Because we had this conversation, just briefly. A lot of people will see, and I say it all the time, see the artist cover, nice photo, nice shot, whatever, but never really know about the struggle of the artist. Do you know what I mean? So what would you say for you?
There's two ways to tackle that, because I can tackle that from like a Jamaican perspective and I can tackle it from a British perspective, realistically. So I could say, like, I was in Jamaica when I first, really started going hard in music at 14. Because I was only in New York for a holiday when I started. And when I first went to the studio, my brethren, Super Ninja, I still love him to this day. He wouldn't record me. I had my money, I had my CD, and I just wanted to hear myself back.
Right.
And he was like, no, you're not ready yet. Go on, you need to practice. And it was just like, I just want to hear myself to know what to fix. And he wasn't having it. He used to take me to Ghetto Splash and these things. So something what British artists don't really get to experience a lot, because we don't have those things in England. But then that now gives me the difference in England. You can't go to the job centre and say, I want to be a musician, I want to be a painter like Mozart or Picasso, and get that support. Whereas if you say, I want to be an electrician, a teacher, even a politician, you can get job seekers allowance. So there's that again, in different worlds, it's a different type of support structure, a different struggle structure. If you don't have good friends and a dedication to what you're doing, you're not going to get anywhere. You have to have good people around you and people who are going to be honest with you and say, that's not good enough, come back again. And instead of, it's all good. And then when you put it out on the street, you're not getting that feedback. You're like, but I thought it was good. Okay, honesty. And that's another struggle. We fail to face honesty as creatives, you got to face that part. If you don't be honest with yourself, then you're not going to get far.
No, it's very true, because I believe that a lot of the artists, they go with the trend, I think being honest is one of the hardest things you have to, because you'll get a lot of fight for being honest. People will say you're not even considering the other side of the coin, because it might be far easier to do what everybody else does. But I know from experience that if you fight against the tide, it's harder. So what keeps you going?
For myself, unfortunately, we're in lockdown, but my drive is being on stage. When you're on stage with a new crowd and you can turn that crowd into people that love your music, that's my drive. And then I'm a father as well, so everything I do now is for my children, regardless. And that's the next super drive that I have, that I didn't have when I started. Before, it was just the drive to be on that stage with the people and break that wall. Right, that challenge. I like that challenge. So that's my drive.
All right. A lot of people could say, for instance, you could have traded on your cousins, for example, because we keep it real. You could have traded, like many artists do, trade on the name, trade on, well, that's my cousin, and that's your cousin. Like, you know how we know how it goes in the music business. I've got to say hi to Clara Rose. Hiya. In the meantime, between time, I mean, why didn't you? Because a lot of people would have taken it easy. Honestly, they would have just said, you know what, my cousin is, and he was, and G done, and yesterday, blah, blah, blah. So.
No. It happens naturally. Okay, so if I say Roy Slickers, you'd have to be into the real roots reggae to know the Slickers, know? And Roy Slickers is my cousin. You know what I mean? Then I've got a cousin who's married to Lukey D.
Yes.
And I remember being a little boy and Lukey D, you know, pulling up on me and schooling me, and I'm like, oh, dude, like, so it's a thing where you don't do clout because of it's more of you get to that point where real talent shines, and you know, you go into a group of non-talented people and you shine as talent, you stand out, and then when you're amongst talented people, you kind of respect each other like that. So sometimes it takes that drive as well, you know, because the industry has fueled a lot of non-talented artists, unfortunately, and a lot of young cats get this idea that auto-tune is what makes you an artist, and it's like,
this is an argument I've had. I've got to welcome Gramps Morgan to the studio. Good afternoon, Gramps.
Good afternoon. How are you? Good afternoon.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you for asking.
No, well, you know, I've been hearing some things about you're fitting out and gearing out and and making sure you're just, but you're looking so healthy, though. I tell you, not that you wasn't looking healthy in the first place, but you're looking slim trim, as they would say in English.
Not much. I got a ways to go.
But it's for more than some. All right, now we have Right Time, we have Gramps Morgan, we have Keith in the studio. Hang on, let me just, Keith, can you hear me? He's got his mic on mute. Can you like to join us?
Microphone check. Turn me up in the booth.
Oh yes, Keith. Now, all right, I've got Gramps, and everybody's here. Now let me just go to Keith. Gramps, I'm giving you time to rest and relax and get into the thing. So Keith, come on then, give us a little history about yourself and let the ladies and gentlemen around the world know what you specialize in. Because we're going all around today, ladies and gentlemen. We've got health, we've got music, we've got life facts, we've got so much more, and everything you hear today is the truth and nothing but the truth with a capital T, because we don't do small t on here, so right. So Keith, would you like to tell the ladies and gentlemen and introduce yourselves?
Well, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. So Daddy General, Right Eye, Brother Gramps. My father told me never to talk about yourself, all right, you know?
I knew you was going to say that, you know. Don't you quote wisdom with me, you know. Look, I give you another wisdom. It's better to be truthful than to hide. That's another one. There. So come on, you're not hiding.
I'll try to do a movie trailer 1 minute.
Okay.
We started out in music.
Uh-huh.
I was born into a musical family.
Mm-hmm.
Max Roach is my uncle in jazz.
Yes.
Coddled by his best friends who were Quincy Jones, Bill Cosby. So these are guys that would change my diapers. I came up in the jazz era, the bebop era.
Uh-huh.
Got signed to Warner Brothers as a saxophonist. Got jerked around very badly. So started to go the production route. It wanted nothing to do with music anymore, really, after that.
Hold on, Keith. If you got your system turned up, if you turn it down a little bit, because we can hear the echo over this side. Yeah, that might be better. Okay. Can you hear me now?
I think that's good, yeah.
Yeah, that's better. Now I can hear you without the echo. Yeah, sorry, you were saying.
Had a bad experience with music like most people in the business, you know, especially with the major label.
Yeah.
And really started focusing more on production behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But music has always been the roots of the soul, you know, it's the iodine.
Yes.
It's always the iodine.
Yes.
Since we were young, very young, like my other guy, friend, Fredro, who's not here now because he's spending time with his kids on Sunday. But we always said to ourselves, when we made it, we would try to do things that would help youth at risk get off the streets, and using music and sports as those vehicles.
Yes.
And we pretty much stuck to it. So when we did start it, when we were able to afford sponsoring projects like that, which is over a decade ago, we actively got into creating music-driven programs and athletic-driven programs that to this day now we're 4,000 people deep in them that have gone very well.
So what were those programs? I mean, for the people who don't know, what were those programs involved? What are they?
Well, the last decade we focused on Safe Camp,
right,
which is what this tour is about right now. Safe Camp is celebrating their 10-year anniversary this year.
Yes.
They are a world leader, if not the world leader, in non-communicable disease prevention.
Okay.
Which consists of heart attacks, strokes, diabetes, hypertension, conditions that are related to obesity, having poor diets, and a poor physical regimen. And by the way, for all of you out there that are concerned about your health more than ever now, non-communicable diseases, NCDs, have been the leading cause of death worldwide for more than 5 decades.
Whoa.
They kill well over 200,000 people a day globally. Their mortality rate is well up into the 70 percentile. There's only been one significant call to action for non-communicable diseases in our lifetime. It happened at the 2011 United Nations Summit in New York City, when a couple of hundred world leaders got together to actually open up the discussion and speak about how to combat it.
Right.
And it was at that forum at the UN where Safe Camp was recognized as the world's leading program statistically for prevention.
Right. And
we've never stopped since then. So the Celebrate Health tour right now is really it's a spin-off of what Safe Camp has been doing for the last decade.
Yeah.
And since they can no longer train people in large groups, they're bringing their programs virtually starting February 22nd.
Okay, yes.
So people all around the world can train with us like we're on StreamYard right now. They can come into Zoom and all over the world and train with very highly certified master trainers like myself and a team of board certified health professionals that will really guide them step by step into getting in super optimal shape.
I mean, people will say, I've got to say good afternoon to Black Juice. People will say there is something, I'll just say as people will say, what guarantees, what would it, if I rang you, for example, and I wanted to know the things I could do, what kind of things could I expect from a session with you? What would it entail?
I'm very glad you asked that, because we have a weekly television show out right now in America, airing on Verizon and Spectrum and Optimum. And in the show, as you know, television is made to entertain.
That's right.
They make it kind of seem like it's like boot camp-ish, but it's not. It's only a bit boot camp-ish to make it more entertaining and to make it more fun.
Right.
But for me personally, how I may train or how my partners may train, we're not yelling. It's not anything like a boot camp. It's a very loving, step-by-step experience from day one. People learn methodology about functional movement, biomechanics, kinesiology. They learn very safe ways to execute movements that will help them build muscle and build up their cardiovascular and respiratory conditioning. And they're fun too. They're very fun. They're not boring, especially in group settings like that. And they also go through a series of classes and workshops, cooking workshops and health education workshops that teach people how the relationship their bodies have with sugars, calories, blood pressure, cholesterol, the immune system. So they pretty much get tooled for a lifetime on how to manage their health.
Okay. For people like myself, for example, okay, and I know we might not. So, but all right, let's flip it again, okay. now the men would be listening. And what about this? Because there was a lot of women in the world, they would do, but they're kind of frightened by men telling them, well, you need to do this. And I'm just putting it out there, you need to do that. And you need. So what can you say? Because we have to be honest with ourselves right now. What can you say to the ladies out there who say, well, you know, I understand what you're saying, but it's a male voice and there's another man saying, here we go again. So I don't just, it's just real. What can you say to reassure them? To, you know, because women are just women, and a lot of women, and we're on the internet, you know, and there's a lot of good sides and bad sides about the internet. So what could you say to reassure them?
I love my ladies. Me strictly a ladies guy.
Uh-huh.
And I could tell you the majority of our clients, and again, we're 10 years deep, 4,000 people plus, are women. About 75% of everyone that comes through are women. There's more social pressure on women to keep themselves together.
Yes.
When the man, you know, if they start getting a little belly or something, but they can still just keep taking care of their woman and whining and dining them, and the women stay with them.
Yes.
But for the girls, you know, we meet them and they're nice and fit, and then a couple of years later, a kid or two later, they're putting on some weight, and the man's heart still loves them, but him body say, "Me don't want to go back to that no more."
And that's real. That is real. That is true.
So a lot of the women are very concentrated on their backside, their glutes.
Yes.
And they don't think anything about their heart, their conditioning.
Yes, that's so true.
So even when I see them at the gyms, and I avoid gyms because they're not the best place at all to get a health education at. It's a great place to get miseducated, actually, in those box gyms.
So why you see that now? Here is the against the tide thing. Okay, media would suggest go to the gym, pump up like a blah blah, and lift up a muscle and push down and tear up and everything. Yeah, and this you saying, well, no, that not necessarily. That is so. For those who are conventionalists, so those who've been paying their monthly fee and vex and don't want to pay them more, but still have to go because they're locked into that conception of I need to pay to go. What would you say to them?
The typical box gym is an environment with equipment.
Yes.
That's it. You're on your own. The people that, unfortunately, that apply for jobs in those box gyms, they're trainers that they pretty much just want to make more money, and it's a job to them.
Yes.
And I train many of those trainers after they've already been miseducated with whatever training programs they went through to get certified.
Yes.
So you have trainers in the gyms that can't tell you the relationship your body has with sugars. They don't have a clue what fast absorption and slow absorption is for carbs, and how it triggers your blood sugar levels to go up and drive your pancreas crazy. They tell you, do this for your biceps and do a squat for your glutes, and that's them training you.
Yeah.
And then when you leave the gym, like Planet Fitness, you have access to Gatorade and pizza when you leave.
Yes.
So that's taking one step forward, two steps back. They're just concerned about your money.
Yes. Yeah.
When you want to take on a health program, you have to agree to be married. You can't date health like you can't play boxing.
Yes.
You got to marry better health and embrace methodologies, simple tools that you can use to just stay on top of it forever. It shouldn't be a temporary goal, is to lose a couple of pounds for the summer. That's not the goal. Your goal is to stay alive so you can run around with your kids well into your senior years, so you can enjoy your family.
That is very true, because I always state, and and I don't mean to be disrespectful, because I'm getting older as well. I ain't saying I'm old, but I'm getting to that point where it's getting to that old word, right? But the thing is, I look around and I see a lot of the older generation with walking sticks, with arthritis, with so many. And I say to myself, I do, and with no disrespect, because I it's where I come from. I say to myself, like, I'm sure many of us do, but they don't want to be honest about it. I don't want to end up like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to end up with the hunchback. And I'm just keeping it real. I don't want to end up with I can't even go out because I can't move, or if I'm moving, and I don't want to. I just don't want to end up like that. Some people, I hear some people say, well, I just hope for a quick death and I don't have to go through that, which to me is like, that's not celebrating life. But what you're saying is sometimes we have to have a different approach to life. Sometimes we have to use our body and think of our body differently, which I can understand. So, if I said to you, oh, girl, I'm a man, I like my chicken, I like doing this, I like doing that, what would you say? What would be the first thing you say to me? Don't tell me give up chicken, come here and you done right now, this very minute, this very second. I don't even got there, so, but what would you say to me?
You want me to take that, or you want me? I think you want Gramps. You want to chime in on that?
No, man, you finish that question there.
Okay, so you can have what you want.
Yes.
But you have to be aware of the consequences.
Yes. And
I'll speak to you unfiltered, like I speak to my brothers.
Okay.
When I wanted to give my brothers a sense of the dangers of frolicking around unprotected.
Yes.
I brought them to the ward in my facility that deals with STDs.
Right.
So they can see what syphilis looks like and see what herpes looks like.
Yes.
Right. So they have a visual now of what's in their future.
Right.
If you want to continue frolicking around like that, then you know what's there for you.
Yes.
It's very similar with your food.
Mm-hmm.
But the labels on the food don't show you what I just put in your head visually.
That's very true.
If you don't read the labels, if you can read what's going in your body, if you can't read it, you don't eat it.
Yeah, that's a good saying.
So if you understand that something that you enjoy is going to contribute towards clogging your arteries, which is going to reduce the oxygen going through your bloodstream, which is going to reduce your energy levels, which can pretty much kill you. If you don't understand that certain foods can clog up your arteries, if you don't understand that many of the foods that we eat are loaded with sugar and is your fastest route to type 2 diabetes and getting amputations and blindness and obesity. If you know that these foods are bad for you, you probably want to avoid them like you would avoid that girl that wants to hang out with you on All-Star Weekend all night and she just met you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mean to say that badly, but there's a problem with that. If I just meet someone and at 3 a.m, she wants to come back to the room with me, something's going to be wrong with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Something just has to be wrong with that. It's a dangerous situation. And I look at food the same way. You got to know what you're eating and you got to eat it in moderation. Take your precautions, especially if it's in the supermarkets and it's right at your eye level.
That's a good. You see, that is a different way of approaching it now. My friends said, "Daddy, you're not giving up the chicken." I said, "No, sir. No, sir. No, we're not. No. But you see, the way you've approached it to me now, it don't mean I'm gonna give up the chicken, but it kind of mean I might think about it a little more. You understand? Because I got friends that are vegetarians, and sometimes it really does come down to economics, Because sometimes I would go with my friend. And he's a vegetarian and he don't eat meat. And me and him's always having joke. I'm always saying, you don't want this chicken leg. And he'll say, no, sir. But when we do the shopping economically, okay, my shopping always works out cheaper than his. And he will buy vegetables galore and re. Now, for a lot of people, economically, they might not be able to make that switch. Did you get me? So what would you say to that? I have to go into you today, because I have to defend the right for chicken. so what would you say to them?
Well, to close up on your chicken, you can have the chicken, just don't fry it. You can grill it, you can bake it, change your cooking process, and that's doing the lesser of the evils. The other
And
side
also,
of the meats are, if you don't know the animal all your life and all its life, and you don't know exactly what's going into it, you got to be careful. Because in business, if a farmer has tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars of livestock, and there's a sickness going on, he's not going to not sell that livestock. He's going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
also
No one's
organic
going to
chicken,
know.
right, Keith?
Well, what's that, Gramps?
I said they have organic chicken too.
Yeah, but you see, now here my drama, Gramps. I'm at home. I can't see the chicken running in the field. I ain't got no guarantee. And they might show me a picture of one like you can take on the phone, I one field, and couple chicken I run around and I go mad, and then tell me about free range chicken. I ain't got no guarantee. I know, but I just keep it real. I ain't got no guarantee.
That's why you have the Food and Drug Administration. You got to just hope and pray. But that's why most of the time it's better you grow your own food and pick your own food, and you stand a better chance. Because even the FDAs, you can't even trust what they're putting on and giving people approval for, you know?
So you know what, Gramps? Look at the question, and I want to ask you as well. Now, a lot of people would associate you with music and so many other things, but you see, you just imparted a piece of knowledge, and I'm just pointing out straight. There's a lot of people wouldn't know you know all about that stuff, because as I always say to, I've just said to Righty, I've just said to Keith, people see people from an album cover and so forth. So the other side of you, how did you get to know these things?
Well, it's study, you know. You have to understand, say, with reggae music, everything we talk about is news, you know. And we
Yes.
always grew up. I grew up in the 12th tribe of Israel, where me see, you know, people like Sangi Gyad and my father and all those guys and Alan Skill Cole. Those guys would always eat fresh and Jewish and Irish mash. Now I see people discovering Irish mash today and saying, "Oh my God, it has every vitamin in the world. It has magnesium. It has all the nutrients your body needs." And that's good because now there's scientific proof to back our claims that the Rastaman have always said ital, and he's always said, you know, even if you have to eat look of flesh, eat it in moderation. And if
Yes.
you look of flesh, stay off of the beef and eat more chicken and fish. If you have to, if you can't give up fish that much. I mean flesh that much. But I grew up that way, knowing that, you know, less flesh is better and vegetable and lots of juicing. Now I see they have places called juice bars. When I was
Yes.
a kid, they didn't have a juice bar. Those things didn't. It was a man blend up something and call him brethren and say, "Yo, I have some Irish masher and I have some beetroot juice." You know, it was just that thing. But nowadays, to see what it's come to, it's now becoming a conscious. It's now a multi-billion-dollar industry headed by the white man. And you go
Yes.
to places like Whole Foods and, you know, Trader.
I'm gonna have lost you there. Where have you gone? Gramps, have you got? I lost you for a second there. I don't know where you went there.
Yeah,
Hello. All right, you're back now. You're gone again. Oh, I like this, you know. Technology just amazes me all the while. It work and then it don't work and then it work. You know why? When them say the truth to reveal, you know, something, I always go pop.
right, don't it?
Yes, it is right. You're back now. Right.
Yeah.
So if we missed anything, can you repeat that for us,
Yeah,
please?
man, I'm just saying that the way the corporations and capitalism has taken over health, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now, you know. Everyone has a health video, and you know, like you heard Keith say, you know, you have the choice to govern your own body. That's why we love His Imperial Majesty, because he said the first thing that you must know is sovereignty and is knowing of yourself. So
Yes.
that is for you. You know, like Keith said earlier, you know, you see syphilis, so here it is. Look at the syphilis and just understand that is what you put in your body through. So that
Yes.
is the risk and the gamble that you are going to put your penis through or
Yes.
your vagina. So
Yes.
it's a straight talk. And I think people are now, the world is at a point where it's in an awakening stage.
Yes.
Everybody's
Yes.
awake now, and people are starting to ask questions where them grandmother never asked.
That's right.
For me, what made that mindset is because I grew up on that. We grew up on the Rastaman diet. You know, even there was times when man still I eat oxtail because we live according to Leviticus 11. So that
Yes.
I want to eat giraffe, I want to eat deer, I want to eat pork, I want to eat shrimp and lobster.
All of the wait. Now you see now the mic gone again. Look here now. Every time it come to the truth shall be revealed. It just get ding.
Take my knowledge.
you know, I mean, right. Gramps. For you, let me see. Now, this knowledge, it had to. All right. Let me take you way back. Let me ask you a question. The first time, okay, you remember the first time you walked out of the yard by yourself as a man and just said, right, you know what, I'm on my own now. You know, there's a time in life where them say they don't say get out, they don't say come out, they don't say nothing. They just be that look, which means it's soon time to go. You know, and so when you stepped out into the world, what was your expectations? What was your, you know, like some people, to be real, some people say I want to be a plumber, I want to be a this, I want to be a that. What did you want to do?
Music from first grade. I told my teacher I don't have to do my homework because I'm gonna sing on stage with my father.
You never get no licks.
Of course.
So wait there. Let me ask you a question, because you see in England, yeah, we get what we used to call the cane, which was a little cane on your hand. And I ain't, you know, anybody think about brutality or whatever, I ain't condone it, right? But you see what used to frighten us as born here. Our parents used to say, "Don't make me send you back home because you think school nice," and that alone used to frighten us. So how you could take so much punishment?
It wasn't punishment. It was one. Once you are taught one lesson, you're supposed to learn from that lesson. You're not supposed to make the same mistake twice. But I'm trying to show you that my confidence in what I wanted to do from first grade in school, that I knew I always wanted to do music. Even when I was in high school and I was a football jock, and you know, and I had my girlfriend in high school, and she was like, "Roy, do you want to come over?" I was like, "No, can't come over. And I never got it, Jim. I have to be ready, I have to fit." Like, something's wrong with you. Like, I was a strange guy in a car. Most of would have said, "Boy, I'll get something that evening, yeah, I know why." I wasn't there. Sex was the least of my worries. It was about preparing my body for this journey. That my dreams. That I knew that you always saw Bob Marley as a man who always focused on fitness, and you saw people like Michael Jackson. You saw all your mentors and all your idols that you wanted as your musical idols to say, "I want to be doing that," and knew what it take. So even at the high school point, when I was a football player, it got to a point where I always knew that being on stage and having my heart be conditioned to sing a song or do a show for 2 hours, and that helped me so much. Like people like, even when we moved to Jamaica, a man like Bushman used to drive by we house in a St. Thomas and say, "Yo, who them dread there?" You know, that time we just moved. And was like, "Yo, them man, look at them take the fitness serious." We would get up every morning 5:30 and train and play soccer again in the evening by 4 or 5 o'clock. So we used to play soccer twice a day, plus calisthenics, plus run about 4 miles. So it was serious. But you know, you have to find a way as you get older. You know, that's why I take on boxing now, because it's not as much pressure on my knees, but it's amazing cardio that the way you have to use your legs and move your body and move your hips. Stretching is a big key now at this age.
Yes. So a lot of people will say, because all right then, let's look at it. Some will say, I can't do boxing. I'm too timid. I don't have the or the understand. I've just got that. There's some people, but they don't have the. You get me. So for you, all right, you're already, you know, big already, yeah. So for you, and what would you say to somebody who, same thing like I said to Keith, what would you say to somebody who's never experienced going boxing, to do their cardio and get it? What would you say to them to get them in that situation?
Don't be afraid, especially people that are over 40. It's very important. And I can tell you this, size don't matter. I used to take martial arts too, so size don't mean nothing. Let me tell you that. I've seen little guys 130 pounds knock out guys that were 250 pounds. And it's muscle density, it's being light on your feet, it's speed, it's not just being big. That I mean nothing, I can tell you that. And I've always, even as an athlete, I've never depended on that. That's why I did several sports. I went out even to play hockey. I went out to play tennis. I went out to do I learned the yoga, like all these, anything that had to do with athletics, I knew that I wanted to do. So anyone that wants to try boxing, it's one of the best sports, especially for men over 40. And me worse, me never like lose a fight. I've never lost a fight in my life. I always make sure I can defend myself. Like me tell you, the rest of my mentality was mentally, physically, and spiritually fit. That's how I grew up.
Okay, here's a question for you, and I say, you know, to you in general, there is, let's give you a scenario. There is 20 million. Now let's make it. Let's get, say, 30 million pounds in front of you. A man come in and he opened the case, and in many cases wouldn't be one because it's just across the line, right? And he's opened these cases, and he says to you, he says, Gramps, I want you to do two things for me. I want you to sing 2 disrespectful songs that against everything you believe in, and see the 30 million pound yourself. And he even gets it and he waves it in your, and he says, you know, you can do it 30 million. And he's going on with himself. What would you do, Grabs? And he even put it down next to your leg and said, where you are, I feel it. You say, oh, 30. So what would you say to him?
Rasta and a sellout. For no.
Straight.
$10 money. That's a 70s money. 30 million of money today. Man, I live in a house that costs 200 million. I've seen it. $200 million. So money, and there's not a price on your soul. There's no price. What you put on your life. If I'm out there say, yo, kill yourself, I'm gonna give you $10 billion. So you tool your salvation. You can't sell out that. There's no price for that. So, and we'll sing a girl. If you sing a song about a girl tune, I'm probably a couple slack lyrics, but I would do it in such a way that it complement the woman, because we love woman enough.
Yes.
True man on the earth today and the true king, him love woman.
Yes. This brings me to a question, and it's not, you know, because a lot of people, as I said before, see the album cover, see your works and that. The current situation, because I follow music, and music is life, and the slackness songs, and I've noticed, I would know because I know all the artists. I've noticed that there is a slide now, because if you go back 10 years ago, whatever, the culture music was there, the upliftment was there, but it was being suppressed by the way the music industry was. Now I've said to somebody, you know, due to the not even the COVID, but true lack of money and the way the world is going, people are more gravitating now to this is what it is. This is what it really is. Someone said to me, you know, a lot of the so-called slack artists are now turning to culture. They're only playing it for the money. And my question to you is, Gramps, in the world we live in and economically, have you ever played the two sides of the fence, kind of, well, this makes sense to do it this way because it's economics, or have you stuck to your values which have got you to where you are now?
I've never sung a slack song in my life. Never. I've been doing music a very long time, over 30 years now. Professionally since 1992, and then you had all the talent for that and all the other things that you use to develop yourself. But professionally, as you can say, OK Morgan is a professional band since 1992. So I've never sang a slack song. It's always been social commentary. It's always things that I saw on BBC News. It's always been things that I experienced as a man, real life situations, not fantasies. But there's so much things to sing about that I still haven't sing about. And it's nothing to do with slackness. So as long as you are living, you will always find content to sing about. So you have to just know who you are as a person. That's why we support sovereignty, knowing of oneself. Then certain things will be given to you as a man, that you become. Many men ask for the power of kingship, but don't know the price. They don't want to pay the price.
That's very true.
And the responsibility, because authority and judgment and proper governorship is very important. So once you get put in the seat of king, you have to look over your kingdom, you know, and make sure we're going over to the east and we're going to the west. And then your wife wants to spend a little time with you. Then they pick me and get out of order and want disrespect you because I'm get look here and I'm armed. So it's many different things. So there's a price for kingship.
So question, I mean, how did you, Keith, and how did all you guys get together? You know, Keith, you first. How did you get together?
So I was producing events, concerts inside of the St. Lucia Jazz Festival as a producer, and I had the liberty of choosing talents that had synergy with our movements, which again at that time were we were rebuilding basketball courts around the Caribbean.
Right.
So we would use proceeds from the events to rehab the basketball courts.
Right.
And I had brought Gramps over to St. Lucia with Fredro, with another one of my colleagues, friends at the time, Maya. You may know her, the singer Maya.
Yep.
The first time I brought Gramps out the country, but he actually worked with us a couple of times on Reggae Carafest before that. That's where I got to actually meet him at. And I really liked his vibe. The whole band was incredible. They were very uplifting. They weren't, it's like you said, they've always been on a conscious level. That's what I resonate to as a spiritual being, and that's what I want to endorse. So, but we've been in touch ever since. It's been a couple of decades now. He's always been there for my positive requests. For Right Eye, I have a relationship with his papa Bushman. And for Fredro, we came up together. My circle growing up was Freddie, Fredro, Sticky, Busta.
Yes.
Then I had people on the jazz side, but we were all kids that wanted to make music and play sports. And one day use both of those vehicles to try to help kids like us get off the street. So I was just reared. I came up from a very young age around artists, and I didn't even know who they were. And many of us that weren't anybody at the time, we all seemed to make it.
Yes.
In our respective fields. You know, I'm very honored still. A lot of them have lost their way. They've lost their way to Hollywood.
Yes.
They've lost their way. One of the guys, another dear friend who I grew up with and trained also, his name is Mark Jenkins. He trains Beyonce, Puffy, LL, Missy is like the top trainer in Black Hollywood.
Yes.
I trained him. He was a fat boy. And, you know, I thought, oh man, me and him would stay in the hood and keep on teaching our kids in the hood, our people in the hood, how to get bodies like ours, you know, help them. But he stayed out in Hollywood, getting his over $1,000 an hour. God bless him. Do your thing. And I wanted to stay for the poor people. I wanted to stay in the hood. And that's where Safe Camp came in. So everything that we teach you in the Celebrate Health virtual programs, by the way, you can find them more information on celebratehealth.africa.
I was going to ask you that to give them the information.
Everything we teach you is the same thing that the top celebrities in the business get for $1,500 an hour. You're going to have myself as your master trainer and some of my friends who are belt holders, fighters. I'm not going to tell you who. I can tell you that they do hold belts and they're very gifted.
So wait. Now let me just, do you hear that? Can you have some people red eye, you know, you open your red eye, you know, because I know you want to get in there while it's hot. Oh, I'm just telling it as easy though, because you get the red eye one. Yeah. Oh, all right. I wasn't going to go there before, you know, but they go, yeah, I'm going there now. So I'm just putting it out there. You better go there anyway, but you're going there now. But go ahead, Keith.
But that I know Gramps forever, man. I know all these guys forever. I love them. They're my family. We all have synergy with our chemistry, with the what we'd like to do for the hood and especially for health.
Yes.
And not only are they extremely talented with positive music, but they're willing to share that and share some of their personal hurdles, which I'm sure is going to inspire a lot of people. because all of them are dedicated to health right now, and that's why they're on this tour with me. They're dedicated.
The thing is, yeah, and I like the way that it's done, because you could spend thousands and millions of pounds getting it through the mainstream, your message, and what you do, and what Safe Camp's about. But you true to your word, and this is why I have to respect, everybody in this room right now. Everybody's grounded. Everybody, it doesn't matter how high you've reached, everybody's got this urge to give back. I've got to give back. I've got to leave a legacy behind me, and a lot of people do not see it like that. They see it as, well, I created it, it's mine, and I'm keeping it. And when I go, it goes with me. But you guys are the opposite way. You're the way that says, look, we need to create this, and it needs to stay. And when we're gone, it just needs to be here. That is like a future thinking. That is a thinking that most people nowadays, with the economic situation, wouldn't even dare think about. Oh, the risks are too high, and so forth and so forth. I mean, how do you deal with that?
We are partnered with the largest health and hospital corporation in the country, and we're partnered with dozens of urgent cares throughout the city of New York. I could tell you from the last few years that the people that come through our doors, the majority of everybody that's coming through, they're waking up in the morning thinking it's going to be a regular day, and then they're coming to us in an ambulance.
Whoa.
Or they're walking through the doors that they never saw coming. And the majority of all of those conditions are preventable. And it's preventable for pennies on the dollar. Pennies. And this is what's heartbreaking about it. It's heartbreaking. I got 11, 12, 13-year-olds with diabetes. I got young kids who were very obese that are getting their shoes left up their backside because they're getting bullied in school, which is turning them into other alternative lifestyles, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's a ripple effect of family dysfunctionalism that's coming from not being educated properly about health.
Yes.
And you would think inside of our institutional systems that what we're talking about now and how we're talking about it, how we're having fun with it, would be a regular program since kindergarten.
Yes, that's right.
You would think that health would be a regular program, and financial health would be a regular program, and mental health would be a regular class in school. Because most of us are in debt for our school that we don't use none of that blood or our stuff that we learn in there.
Yeah, that's true.
Nothing that I pay all this to go to school for. Nothing. I don't use it. So these are tooling, health tooling, financial health tooling, mental health tooling, physical health tooling. It should be from day one. But I just want to say that it's all preventable.
Okay. Keith, you know what? Sorry, I've got 8 minutes before I have to sing. Now there's one thing I need you to do. Give the people, sorry, look, my mic's going all over the place. Give the people the email address, all the information, because it's very important, where they can contact you. Well, where can they sign up? Where can they just give them everything they need to know? So
for our virtual programs, you can go to celebratehealth.africa. Celebratehealth.africa. Yeah, we got an Africa domain because we're all about Africa. Really, we're all about Africa. Everything about the virtual programs is there. The program schedule for the TV show is there. They can tune in. And hopefully after we leave your platform, we could do a campaign with you over the next month before the programs start. Yep, that's no problem. Have Gramps' People Like You as the theme song, because we love that song. No, that's fine. And I'm gonna have that. I've got that song somewhere. I'll play the last song when I go. But I'm telling you this now, and I am so glad I've had you gentlemen on here, because it's awakened a lot of people's eyes. We have people listening on every app you could think of, and I know a lot of them would be getting in contact with you. So before anything else, can you just give them the email address one more time, because I really want them to understand that this is important. Everything is being routed through celebratehealth.africa.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Everything there. Okay. And me, we're not on social media a lot. We have the pages, but we don't really use it. But I'm at Keith Dorsett we prefer to use platforms that we manage, so we can't get censored when we talk about critical things.
Well, no, that's how I am. I totally agree with you. I understand that concept. You know what I mean? So, right. Would you like to say shouts to anybody? Because then I got to go to Right Eye and then I got to go to Gramps. Would you like to say shouts to anybody, Keith?
Not particularly. I'm just really grateful that everybody's over here. And we hope to be celebrating all of your success if you come in and train with us starting February 22nd. And maybe we can have the graduation back on this station when everyone graduates. You know, have like a couple of thousand people up in this room.
No, well, no, you know what? You know,
and then the Gramps can send people like you.
Now we've got plans for the future. That's what we're going to. We'll have plans for. We can't give away too much live on here because some people, you know. We'll just say. But thank you, Keith. I'm going to cut you off. Right Eye. Can I get you? Do you want to get your word in, sir?
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how I can just make sure they big up Sir Daddy D and say this is where we found out about joining Celebrate Health Africa, because you know that's going to be important for us in the long run, knowing that we're helping a lot of people who listen to Sir Daddy D. You can find myself, RYTIYE, Real Young Talent, Infinite Young Energy.com, right? That's all my music, social media platforms, etc. Otherwise, from that, tune into the radio stations for the music.
Oh, thank you, Righty. All right, Gramps.
Yeah, first of all, thank you to Keith Dorset and thank you to you, brother, just for having us and taking the time to empower our communities, our people, because our people, African bloodline, seems like we don't take our health serious enough. And we need to spread this more, even if it's going for a walk for a mile a day. Treat yourself to an Apple Watch that you can measure, and all these little devices that can measure how many steps you take. So our great grandfathers and our ancestors didn't have an Apple Watch that they can measure how far them walk. So just take it serious, and thank you for this platform. And just follow the ways of the old, and we will preserve. You know, like Keith said, if you can't read it, if you can't pronunciate it, sodium glutamate, backside, and all these side and all kind of side. We can't say apple, carrot, and even some of them fruit. They just keep it to we have to bring it back to the basics. And that's all I have to say. And thank you. Look out for new music, the brand new Gramps album. Coming very, very soon. Just stay tuned to all things Gramps Morgan at grampsmorgan.com. And I want to say the last thing about CBD. You know, people should really look into it. I'm about to introduce it, our brand, to the UK, where we'll be doing some serious things. I won't talk too much too soon, but there's a lot of knowledge when it comes to the science of cannabis. You know, now the Rastaman has always said, why the herb, and now that's being dissected. Because where I say Rastaman, that part the way they say wrong enough. You know? And now there's true science behind it. So now we can differentiate what's good for autism, what's good for ADHD, what's good for diabetes, what's good for headache, what's good for pain. So me and my company, Messiah Medical, has been working on that for the past 5 years. You know, almost 5 years now, and it reached to a point where you guys are gonna hear some great things, and a lot of people's gonna get healed. But we've been doing a lot of healing under the cover.
Do you know what, Gramps? You know, and for a lot of you, as I said to all you guys, you're a lot of inspiration for a lot of people. And now a lot of people wouldn't have known what you've just said. They might have heard it on social media or hear whispers or whatever. But it shows elevation. It shows that we should have our hands in everything. It shows we know everything, but we don't do everything. And that's what you've just said is an illustration of, you know, there's a lot of people, again, would just think of you as just music. They wouldn't know what you've just said. They wouldn't thought of, really, he done that. So that would carry to someone else. And for that powerful message, I thank you. And the world needs to hear it. Do you know what I mean? So, right, I've got less than 30 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen. We've had Gramps Morgan, we have Keith Dorset, we have Right Eye in the studio. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much for keeping the company. Salute to you, and we're back again. we're gonna have the thing again because I always get people back, and then we still got to work out what we're gonna do with the promotions and everything, which we will do. But I will ring you guys later on today because I've got some uploading to do. All right. So thank you very, very much for keeping me company. My name's Sir Daddy D. It's been a blessing, Gramps, and everybody. All right, you know this thing where it say remove, I remove on the from no part distribute.
Easy.
Blessing, love. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Gramps Morgan and the whole of the family. Right, my name's Sir Daddy D. What have I got to do? You know, I need to come off of this thing, So let me just end the broadcast. Do remember, catch if you miss any of the show today, you can normally catch it at 5 till 8 on a Monday, and later on tonight from 11 p.m. Right until 1 a.m. in the morning. All right, my name's Sir Daddy. It's a pleasure and more life. More, I don't like this camera thing. Me, I tell you the God's truth. Well, I'll come off of it, but I love it like I love cooked food. More life, more love. Oh, and big shout out to Willie. Where are you? I know, yeah, that's it. Wilson Jr., big up yourself, so I haven't forgotten you. Black Juice, Yogi Fish, Clara Rose. How long time I talked to Clara Rose? Big up yourself and all the family and everybody else from around the world that's been listening. Thank you very much for keeping locked. My name's Sir Daddy D. I'm out of this broadcast building, and let me end the broadcast. Yes, sir.